Hey everybody, this is Jeff with Bear River Blogger, and we are out at Farmington Bay Wildlife Management Area with David England. He's the assistant manager of Farmington Bay.
Yep.
And we are out on kind of a very unique project out here. Each year they come out and work on these goose nests here, putting new nesting material on it. A lot of volunteers come out, and it's 1st of March, it's 4th of March today?
I believe it is. Usually it's around the last week of February or the first week of March.
So it's extremely cold, but it has to be done because the geese are starting to nest. So we stopped here for a moment and give you guys a little heads up on what we're doing. David England here is going to talk to us a little bit about what we're doing, why we're doing it, what benefits, and who's come out and help us with this project today. So, David,
yeah.
take it away.
So just explain a little bit what we're doing here and why we're doing this. This is for goose production. So we go out every year, like Jeff said, and basically we will put in hay into these structures, these goose nest platforms. We have roughly, well, actually we have over 100 of these goose nest platforms here at Farmington Bay. But essentially we go out, we rip out all the old material that was in there and give them some fresh straw that they can build a nice nest in. We wire it down to secure it there so the wind doesn't blow it out. And now after we leave here, we'll have a pair that will come in, occupy this. And the benefit of this is it gets geese off the nest where they are most vulnerable to predators. We'll start flooding this unit out, so this will be surrounded by water. It gets them off the ground, and it's much more difficult for predators to come in and get the eggs. So this is a benefit for the geese to nest here, to get away from the predators.
How many eggs do they have typically each year? Does a pair have?
You know, I think it varies quite a bit, but I want to say roughly about 8 is probably the average for geese. You might see really large brood size, and what that might be for is geese will actually adopt on other babies from other parents that will get separated. They'll just kind of come on. So you might see brood size of like 24 or even more, and that's the cause of that. I want to give a big shout out to the Airboat Association in Wasatch Widgeons. They have been doing this for years now, and they really make this project possible. I also would like to thank, there's been multiple dedicated hunters that have come out and helped with this, and also volunteers that are just on their wanting to get to know more about what we do out here and just kind of get involved with some waterfowl habitat.
So this really wouldn't be possible without the airboaters, would it? Because as you can see, this is our transportation. This is the state's airboat, obviously, but there's a lot of volunteers bring their own personal airboats out to haul the materials out, get out. So this really wouldn't happen very easily without volunteers in these machines back here, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we probably have, I don't know, 10 airboaters out right now, 10 different airboats. They're all out on the other units doing these platforms. We always get a really good turnout from the Airboat Association. And yeah, like Jeff says, we can't do this project without their help. And we need the airboats because this time of the year when we freeze up, we have to drop the water in the units to prevent the ice from damaging our infrastructure. So there's really, besides walking out to all these, which is just not feasible, the airboats is the only way to get out to these platforms.
Yeah, it seems like we did pretty good over this ice. I was kind of surprised. I didn't know these things ran that good on the ice in the shallow mud. I can see why you need the airboats to get out and do this, especially with 100, plus
Absolutely.
nesting platforms out here. Now, when we came to some of these, there was some different material that was in here. Those were great blue heron nests, right?
Yeah, so we used to have a rookery, natural rookery on the east side. It was a bunch of cottonwood trees over there, and we had a pretty decent sized rookery over there. And unfortunately, with some of the big storms that we've had, it's knocked those trees down, and those great blue herons have abandoned that rookery. So we've noticed that now they're starting to take over our goose nest platforms, which, we want the geese to be using them, but it's one of those. It's one of the setbacks that we have with these is that the great blues are now starting to occupy these. So.
Well, I think we're done for the day, aren't we? We've done as many nests as we could get out here. if people want to come out and volunteer at Farmington Bay or even at the Eccles Wildlife Education Center, who would they contact? Who would they get a hold of if they want to come out and do projects like this throughout the year?
Yeah, so I think the best way is probably just getting a hold of the Eccles Wildlife Education Center, getting a hold of that staff, talking to them and seeing what kind of projects you'd be interested in, and then maybe, getting lined up with what projects we have for that year, and hopefully get you involved in some of these projects that we're doing. So.
Well, this is exciting. This is why I like coming out and doing this stuff. I love getting out in nature, and I love photographing it, videoing it, and letting people know how cool it is to get out here. And we are really fortunate to have Farmington Bay where we do. There's not a lot of habitat left along the Wasatch Front, and Farmington Bay is kind of a vital piece of wetland, not just for the wildlife, but for the public to come out and enjoy. So whether they come out and look at the great blue herons, whether they're coming out duck hunting during the winter time, early spring, they come out and ride bikes and stuff. I mean, this is a vital piece of property for the state for a lot of different reasons. So.
Absolutely. Not just wildlife. Wetlands are basically the kidneys of our ecosystem. They take out all the pollutants. They're some of the most productive ecosystems we have. So wetlands in general, they have so many benefits. They're crucial to our environment, and I'm privileged to be able to work at Farmington Bay.
So if you get an opportunity, come out to Farmington Bay during spring, summer, and early fall. I know the gates are open from 8 to 5, 7 days a week, right?
So actually the gates, the front gate opens up at 7, and then it does close at 5. You can drive up to Goose Egg, park there, and then you can walk down our 1 mile Unit 1 dike to the 4-way.
And the rest of the dikes during the year are closed. And it's because
we
of
are
nesting
closed
season.
due to the nesting season. So we open back up July 31st is the last day that we're closed for the nesting season.
And you've also got the Eccles Wildlife Education Center just adjoins it, and there's nature trails. And
yeah, and
education
that's
center
open
too.
year round, and that's a great way to get out during the summer and see what birds are occupying the marsh at that time. So I encourage everyone to go visit the Eccles Wildlife Center, and hopefully we'll cross paths.
Well, thanks, Dave England, and thanks to the Utah Airboaters Association and all the volunteers that have that make this happen this year and in the years past. Don't forget to follow us on this YouTube channel and follow us at bearriverblogger.com, and come out to Farmington Bay and enjoy a little bit about wildlife and nature.